Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I'm so glad you could keep our appointment. Tonight, I am very excited and happy to have not one, but two awesome guests who are going to share how we can eat good, live good, and feel good. Ballooning to 300 pounds and landing in the hospital with a life-threatening diabetes diagnosis proved a strong wake-up call for Percy Robinson, who was once a slim, trim male dancer. He has since reversed the diabetes diagnosis largely by eating plant-based meals and working out. Percy's engaging instructional cooking show, Diabetes Kitchen, can be seen weekly on YouTube. His new book, ebook, From Diabetic to Diabetes, is also available on his website. Now, Renée Dugué is a healer, writer, humanitarian, artist, co-founder, and executive director of Reborn and Rising, a nonprofit based in Houston, Texas, which provides support to minority male homicide survivors beyond the grieving period. Through music, art, education, entrepreneurial ventures, travel, and humanitarian efforts, with the support of dedicated mentors, risers are encouraged to discover their passions and explore tangible possibilities of making their dreams come true. A native of New Orleans, Louisiana, Renee has resided in Houston, Texas since Hurricane Katrina devastated her hometown in August 2005. In 2007, after settling, she started her own business as a licensed massage therapist. Her healing practice provides massage therapy and alternative and holistic services. The goal is to have clients experience healing through a deep, non-sexual, intimate connection. Currently, her practice provides in-person and virtual services. And I could really go on and on about both these guests. But without further ado, I want to welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G, Percy Robinson and Renée Dugué. Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G.
Thank you.
How are you? I didn't tell you that if the music is still playing, we all have to
gotta dance.
Yeah,
Percy, you got that.
Like I don't mind like a little. I don't mind a little,
I like music.
Yeah, I don't mind a little music.
Listen,
oh wow!
I don't want to be. Look, I have paper towels. I don't know about you, but where I am is like 100 degrees. As you can see, I'm showing the meaty arms because it is so darn hot.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about Texas and Cali, but Delaware is like, I swear, I don't know what to say. How are you two doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. And I know it's really much more to both of your bios, but we can get into that and talk a little bit about what actually you all do and have done as we progress in this interview. I'm excited to have you both on the show. I know, and some are probably saying, "What's the connection?" Because he's talking about diabetes and talking about being a dancer, diabetes cookbook, and she's a humanitarian. But there is a connection, and I'm happy to have you both on the show. And some of the viewers may be familiar, particularly with your show, Percy. I'm not sure, but after tonight, they certainly will, because I just get a kick out of watching you put together, create. Let me say it right. Create what looks like awesome vegan meals, and just the way you do it, in the way your style and your humor, and the fact that you got me running around going is say amazing. I can't say it.
Amazing. You feel me?
Percy, I like when you cut it short and you say amazing.
I mean, yeah, there's certain ways that I say it. It really depends on how I feel at that moment. If I have to emphasize the amazing, but sometimes I just want to get out of the way and say amazing. But
well, listen, before we get into this amazing interview, I want my those who are in the chat. One, this chat is about health and wellness. I'm just gonna give y'all a look. I just have to give my kinfolk in the chat room just a little bit of pep talk today. We're gonna try to keep this chat regarding the subject matter, because they tend sometimes to go off on a tangent, and I'm like this close to shutting down my chat, and I don't. No, seriously, I don't want to shut down the chat, but it's not everybody, but it's some, and they know who they are, or they know who it is, or who they are, who really kind of take it in a different place. And so I'm hoping that you will listen, that you will learn, that you will give us a thumbs up, and you will share right now and let somebody know that we are on and that we're talking about health and wellness with some folks that really have, experience in overcoming some stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of melanated people like us have these various and sundry maladies, diabetes, high blood pressure, liver diseases, and various things that probably, we'll get into it, that it's probably what we eat. It's our I think they say you are what you eat. So if you know and yourself that you can benefit from this, and somebody else, please press share. Give us the thumbs up. You're already going to like it. You're going to love it. So just share right now and let some other folks know that they need to come on to this absolutely amazing broadcast. Again, thank you all. You all know I love you. But welcome to the show. And I found out about you, Percy, because Renee and I are Facebook friends via our mutual sister, Cynthia Martin Eel. Lover to life. And so when Renee, who's doing some amazing things, I can't say it, but you say it again.
I will, like off camera, we'll go over the cues. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll break it down for you.
A tutorial on how to say amazing. But anyway, we are Facebook friends because of our mutual friend, sister Cynthia Martinell, who many of you all know by this book, today.com, Black Folk Are Dead in Law. Everybody knows I run her ad and so forth. So, and she put an ad up about your brand new cookbook, which I absolutely love. And when it said that it was interactive, I thought, how's the cookbook going to be interactive? But I found out it is, and I was like, oh, I'm impressed. So the connection that you two have with regard, I'm going to work backwards. Let's start at the cookbook. What is the connection between you all with regard to that cookbook? And either one of you can start.
I'll allow you to start.
Okay. So I had this. So basically, like, me and Renee met probably like almost a year ago on the set of Taste on TV. It was an app where, a lot of Black chefs could, express their talents, you know what I mean? And as soon as I met Renee, because we did these video calls, and I was like, man, like, I had this instant connection. I was like, I feel like I know this woman, you know what I mean? Like, it was that, like, I believe in good connections, from the way she talked, from the way she carried herself. I was really impressed, So, long story short, I ended up, terminating my contract, and, Renee was already gone. And I felt like I wanted to branch off and do my own thing. But me and Renee kept in contact. So she was doing a few of her projects, and she trusted me to do some of her video editing for, a few of her projects. So I did a few, and we just kept talking. And then fast forward, I'm just going to fast forward because I don't want to get into all that, because we will get into that later. But fast forward, I had this epiphany. I'm like, you know what? Because I am a cookbook reader. Like, I'll look at people's cookbooks and I'll try to remix it and make it better. That's just who I am and how I am. But I bought a few cook ebooks, and the the covers and everything looked great. Excuse me. The covers and everything looked great, but it just was missing something. You know what I mean? I was just like, okay, well, these recipes look great, but like, how am I going to get access to some of these ingredients? You know what I mean? Or, you know, I'm a visual learner. So like, if I read something, I'm just like, scratching my head. So I came up with the idea. I was like, yo, let me write this book, right? And then I'm going to put like, in like the way I thought of it, I was just going to put like little hyperlinks, at the end of the book. But I gave it to Renee to do the editing and the writing and, just to make it pretty,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you, she brought it back with all these things, these interactive things like on each page. And like, I was like, wow, what did you do? But in a good way. And like, it was so amazing. Like how she brought this idea that I had to life before, it was way more than what I imagined. So, so with that interactive book, I was like, okay, well, now they have access to go to Amazon and get some of the ingredients, for the recipe, right? Because some, I noticed some people live in food deserts and they don't have access to some of the bougie stores that I go to. So, what's the point of having this cookbook if you don't have access to this stuff? And then I thought about, okay, well, there's people that can actually read it and comprehend everything and go straight up. And there's people that are visual. So you can press a button and it goes directly to my video and you can just cook along with me. Also, I wanted to add another twist to it, and Renee brought this home with me, right? She added my a Facebook link to where people could go to my Facebook community family, and they could post their pictures of like the recipe that they cooked. We can talk about it. I'm all about, and she understands, I'm all about family and community, So that's how it all came about. Was I had an idea and Renee just knocked it out of the park for me. It was just a blessing.
She did an awesome job because like you said, you click on, I didn't do the part where you go to the actual YouTube page, but I did click on the part that took me to the all, not only the ingredients, but even some of your utensils. That there's a hyperlink. So if you want to, if you were using a special, tool or something, some type of I don't know, cooking utensil, you have it linked there, and they can actually get everything. So by the time they actually want to, embark on the meal, they've got everything they want. And let us state this: it is a vegan, vegetarian, or vegan cookbook. Vegan. Yeah, yes. I want to make that point because I know a lot of the my viewers and listeners are, actually going the route of being a vegan, or at least trying, or they're trying to do something with their health. And let me, Renee, when you took on the project, so your bio is extensive, and there's some things that you do that we aren't even in your bio, because you do so much with regards to health and wellness, and then you just have, as I told you, you just have a spirit about you. You just have a way about you that sometimes when you're in the presence of people, and I can understand rather why how Percy felt like he felt, because you're the kind of individual rather that when you just interact with you get you feel like they're overwhelming love, that there's love. When I see your videos where you're talking about the water, Walk for Water campaign that you're on and all that, you just exude love and compassion, and it's real. It doesn't seem fake or contrived, like you're just trying to push something. It's like you can feel that this is your heart. But the fact you came through some stuff, so I'm gonna we're gonna Percy, we're gonna get to you, but I you're probably the first person that I've met that actually lived through Hurricane Katrina.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I know of people, but for someone, like I said, who lived through it and then was permanently, you I don't know whether you were displaced permanently or you decided to relocate and stay where you were and put your roots down elsewhere. But tell us, can you just tell us a little bit about how that experience, any and all about that experience of having to be uprooted by that type of traumatic event?
Just to put it into context really quickly, some of the most stressful occurrences are relocating, new job, new family, new house, right? Those things are high up on you're going to be stressed out if you're going through these things. So imagine waking up one day and your life as you knew it just simply doesn't exist. That's what it was like. That's what it was like. And I am so grateful that my Katrina experience was minuscule relative to what others went through. We were able to leave. I don't even want to share how easy my story to leave was, but just simply put, this was a pack up 3 days worth of clothes. We were going to Houston for a little mini vacation. We were going to do Waterworld and Astroworld while this hurricane schmurricane, because to evacuate for a hurricane was not something that we typically do. We would be out barbecuing. We would be out having a good time. We lived through these storms that never devastated us the way in my lifetime, the way that Katrina did. And so me and the kids packed up. We went to Houston. We had a suite downtown and we were enjoying ourselves until 3 days later to realize the devastation that my family and friends who were there were still experiencing. Specifically, my mother, who at the time had adopted my little brother and sister. They were infants. She had to evacuate her home through the roof and carry the babies in a plastic container to an overpass to be rescued by a helicopter. She was with my grandfather at the time, and they were flight airlifted to Baton Rouge, where my sister was just starting LSU. And to this day, that's where my parents still remain, in Baton Rouge. But we got here in Houston. Again, thankfully, within 2 weeks, we found a place that I'm still in that area now. I've moved once since 2005 to here where we are, but it's the same area. So I am really, really grateful that, God spared me. Only grace and mercy allowed me to physically settle. But there was so much emotional, mental, and psychological turmoil going on with me and my family, struggling to overcome that, because on the surface, it was as if you're fine. You made it out. Your kids are fine. Your kids are in school. Everything is fine. You have a house. You have this, you have that. But no one really could understand the devastation, because my life as I knew it it wasn't a choice for me. It wasn't a choice for me. And I am learning. I will share this tattoo forever, this embrace change tattoo. This is a Swahili symbol that means embrace change and willpower. Understanding that we try so hard to hold on to what we know because it's familiar. Embracing change, realizing that it's futile to not embrace change, is one of the hardest things it is to do. And so I'm learning that, and healing through helping is what I've embraced as well. So that's me. That's me. And let me keep it short because I can talk, y'all.
Well, we're gonna get some more from you, but that is awesome. Even right now, with what has gone on, with the world, not just one small area, but the world over the last 18, 20 months, what we've been going through, that again, that's change, that we've had to, many of us have had to embrace, even however reluctantly, but we look forward to the day when another change will come, and I don't think anything will go back to being the same, but my hope is that things will get better, as we, better. I'm not looking to be who I was 20 months ago or so, or be where I was, but I am looking to be in a state of mind that, one of the things I do realize with a state of mind is you create your own reality. So, a lot of times with this, emotional turmoil and something like that could have turned you, inside out and upside down. But you have done so many amazing things with your life in spite of and since then that we will talk about. But going back to you, Percy, because
yes.
were an you didn't say you were a male dancer. I'm assuming it was an exotic dancer.
Many moons ago.
Do a little beat, Percy. Do a little beat.
No.
So no, but to go from, we're talking about change now. To go from being a person who was in the shape, the physical fit, fit as physically fit as you were, to have to do what you were doing, to go from there to, I think you got to 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to delve, I don't want to take you down back on an emotional roller coaster backwards, but what do you know what happened? I mean, what happened to take you from there to what got, landed you in the hospital?
So it's really interesting that you say that, because even looking back, I'm just like, because when you look back at your life, you're just like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, how did I do this? And you're like, I know why. So not only was I into dancing, I started when I was 19. So it was a good way for me to make money, and I made a lot of money doing it. But while I was doing it, I was punishing my body. You know what I mean? Even though I looked like I was in tip top shape, physical, I was putting all this poisonous stuff in my body, drinking and doing all kind of crazy stuff. And my parents at the time, my parents, they were just like, we didn't raise you this way, you shouldn't be doing this, and X, Y, and Z. But in 2005, my father passed. So like I didn't know how to process it. You know what I mean? Like, I was always that one that would just keep this mask on of like, always smiling and having a good time and just staying away from pain. You know what I mean? I was trying to stay away from pain and mask the pain, and at the time I met the mother of my child, and being with her and around her, it kind of pacified everything, like all my feelings and everything else. Like, I was still sad and upset, you know what I mean, of the loss of my father, but you know what I mean, like I had something good, you know what I mean, that was happening at the same time. So like I really didn't think about it. I didn't have time to really grieve and just sit down and talk to somebody about my thoughts. And even when I was with her, I really didn't talk about like my feelings and my thoughts, And then a few years later, in 2008. We had our daughter, you know what I mean? And that was just like, I was like, oh my, it was just this burst of joy. You know what I mean? I had this tears of joy just coming out when I first got a chance to hold her. So like, like I was a father for the first time, but I was upset because, my father didn't get a chance to, see me become a father. So like that was in my mind, but still the joy of holding her. And now I'm taking this responsibility of being her protector, but fast forward, they ended up getting orders to Ohio, you know what I mean? And this is the time where like, my life was going good. I had a good job, you know what I mean? I had a nice place, and, we were co-parenting, at the time, because it really didn't work out, but we were still co-parenting. I got a chance to, see my daughter like every single day. That was just it. And we would do cooking, like we did cooking videos before like the cooking videos were really popular. So like that was like my little best friend, you know what I mean? That she was my motivation, but when they actually left, that's when like I felt it, you know what I mean? I was alone. I was finally just alone with my thoughts. Now my daughter is across country. And now all these feelings are coming, you know what I mean, with, dealing with the passing of my father and all this other stuff. And I turned to drinking, but my drinking really wasn't the problem. It was my eating. I basically was eating myself into an early grave, and I didn't know it, because my whole life I was in tip top shape. I was one of the star athletes, you know what I mean? I was into baseball, football. I played everything. You know what I mean? So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm still good. I'm still physically fit, but I'm stuffing my face with, fast food every day. I'm not cooking anymore. You know what I mean? I'm just going for that quick fix. I'm drinking, 2 liters of soda a day. You know what I'm saying? So to the point of 2017, I had gone to work that day, and I will never forget this day. This day is like really vivid because you would think I would have known the signs, right? You would think like, man, something's really wrong, days before. Um, but my vision started going blurry, and I was just like, man, I'm getting old. I may need some glasses, right? I'm throwing up in the parking lot. So, and then my legs are cramping up. So I drive myself 45 minutes from Oakland to Vacaville, which is like a 45-minute drive. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, maybe I'm coming down with the flu. I'm just going to go home and lay down. But there was something something in the air, you know what I mean, in the car telling me to just go to the emergency room now, and I felt like I felt it, and I smelt like my father's scent. It was like,
it's funny you said that, because I was getting ready to say it wasn't something, it was your father.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just getting ready to say, I was thinking that was not someone.
So it was him. Like, basically it was, because even when I was a kid, he was just like, he was that tough love kind of guy, saying, get yourself going, you know what I mean? Get your up and go. But like, he basically told me just go to the hospital. So I checked myself in the hospital, and immediately they take me up to the ICU. And like, I end up kind of like, passing out. And I come to, and like, I'm in the ICU. I have an insulin drip, and I'm hooked up to all these machines. And the nurse and the doctor says, you were minutes away from a diabetic coma. Your blood sugars were over. It was like around 700 or over 700. And I didn't even know that. And my organs were shutting down, at the time, because I was walking around with high blood sugar for a long time and didn't know it. So like, and this is with me not going to my annual checkups, you know what I mean? Not really, just really neglecting my body, and just putting anything and everything into my mouth just to pacify the pain that I was dealing with, So, so basically the doctor said that I would be on insulin for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? I was a big guy. I was like, oh man. Then I seen the prices of how much the insulin was going to be. Half of the thing was, me being cheap. I'm like, I ain't spending this much to, just to stay alive. I'm good. And I had insurance at the time. So, the price of insulin is not cheap. So, I tell my sister, I'm like, yo, can you get my laptop? And then I started researching while I was in the hospital bed. Like, I was in the hospital for a week on an insulin drip. And I was researching, and I found like, herbalists like Dr. Sebi. And I was really heavy on Dr. Sebi. I was like, man, this is kind of dope. And then right when like I finished watching one of his videos, the sister walks in, right? It was a nurse. And I'm just like, kind of in my feelings. She's like, you don't have to be on insulin for the rest of your life, right? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, all you have to do is just diet and exercise, and you're good. And I'm like, and I started researching more. And then I started developing. I'm like, okay. As soon as I got out of the hospital, I started like doing my little grocery shopping thing, and with my thick glasses on, because my vision's still blurry. I'm just like got these thick old glasses on. But as soon as I got my vision back, like just everything changed. Like foods tasted different. Colors were more vivid. It was just that appreciation for life. Like, God gave me this second chance at life. You know what I mean? God was like, look, I'm giving you a second chance. What are you going to do with it? So that's when I started, like, I'm like, okay, I'm a meal prep for myself. I'm going to do these meal preps. I'm still not over meat, but let me try something. So one day a week, I would just eat nothing but vegetables. You know what I mean? Just plants. And then I would just continue eating whatever. Then I would go Tuesday, boom, Wednesday. And I would just wean myself off of eating meat. And I would start experimenting with all these different flavors and fruits and vegetables, and how I could, finesse it to where it kind of emulated meat, so I wouldn't miss it so much. So, I mean, with that being said, that's how I came up with, the certified diabetes brand, but then it transitioned to Diabetes Kitchen.
And do you actually do I consider it like an online cooking class. But do you see yourself like being on something like what's the channel? Oh gosh.
Food Network,
But
Cooking
yeah,
Network.
Food Network. I mean, I think that you have the personality to be um, on like the Food Network channel. Because so many people are actually looking to change their diet, and I think everybody I've seen thus far who cooks the way you cook, they're just on social media. I
Yeah.
have not. I have not. Somebody's got to break the barrier and go on like the Food Network channel and be an advocate for folks like yourself who are trying to there's I know I'm jumping around, but there is a move with the pharmaceutical industries and a lot of to keep people in a certain place.
Yeah.
So maybe there would be some pushback because they don't really want folks to get healthy. They rather. I was watching Man versus Food the other day.
Oh yeah.
Like I binge watched that, and I'm saying this is absolutely ridiculous. The
But
stuff,
people love it.
yeah,
People love it.
on Dagwood sandwiches and 4 pound hamburgers with what 4 pounds of toppings and bread on it. I'm like, I can't believe that people are actually, I'm watching it like not because I liked it, but I'm just looking, going, I can't believe that this man is eating like this. But I've seen nothing healthy. None of
Right.
those shows show anything healthy. And do you know what you know why?
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny. So it's funny why it's funny you say that, right? Because my mom was a Food Network type of. She was a Food Network fanatic. Like she would just go on there, watch the Bobby Flay show, and like I would always make these comments, because she always thought I was funny, because I would always make these little slide comments saying, "Oh, I smashed Bobby Flay," you know what I mean? Like he ain't, he don't want to see me on the show. She's like, "You should go on there." But I told her this: I don't want a seat at their table. I'm going to build my own table. I'm going to build my own network.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to give them what I have. I'm going to create what I have, and people will gravitate to me. And she's like, you know what? I see you doing that, because she knows I'm a fighter. You know what I mean? Like, I won't give up, and I won't stop until I get what I want. So, but yeah, I don't. I used to watch the Man versus Food and just get interested in it, right? But now looking at it as like, what I do now, I'm like, man, that's a heart attack right waiting to happen. You know what I mean? Like that is just crazy that we punish our bodies and we actually tune in and watch it, and we're cheering this guy on.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make health food, like eating healthy, cool again. I'm trying to make cooking cool again. Because I remember back in the days, like we prided ourselves on coming home and smelling a home cooked meal. You know what I mean? Like I can remember as a kid, like my mom would be in the kitchen, like I get out of school and like something was cooking in the crock pot or she was frying something up. You know what I mean? Nowadays we're in this microwave state where like, oh, we got DoorDash. Oh, we have Uber Eats. You know what I mean? You can order anything and have it sent to your house. And you don't even have to go to the movies anymore because all your stuff's at your house. And that's that's doing is this keeping us away from the sunlight. We're indoors. We're eating. We're not exercising. And that's where the diseases come. And that's where these big farm, well, I'm not going to say their name. I'm not trying to, mysteriously something happened to me. But you know who I'm talking about. That's how their pockets get fat because they don't like people like Dr. Sebi, talking about the health and what you need to do to keep your body to sustain this healthy lifestyle. They don't like that because that takes money out of their pockets.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, Renee, you actually, not only did you work on and make this cookbook, this e-cookbook, the amazing product end result that it is, you also have benefited, I believe, from eating the way Percy cooks, because you also had a diabetes diagnosis or pre-diabetes.
Yes, I've actually for the past 6 years been diagnosed. Every annual visit as pre-diabetic. And I've been in denial. Actually, I've been in denial. It was last year I came out publicly as, hello, my name is Renee. I'm an addict. My last physical addiction is sugar. I still identify as an addict and I struggle with sugar. And so how in the world I have maintained this pre-diabetic status as opposed to fully needing insulin shots every day, it is really only by the grace of our creator allowing me an opportunity to get myself together. And so this connection with Percy is so timely for me, and really being inspired by his courage to do what was necessary all by himself with what he had, where he was. He made the choice to live, and he inspires me every day to do the same thing and to make better choices. And so he speaks of his learning style in terms of needing a demo when he reads. He wants to see how. I was who he thought about when, well, can you just send this to my doorstep? You know, can you just cook this for me and send it to my step? Can we? And that's how together he was able to share his knowledge, his insight, his experience with what typically we want. We do live in that microwave society. We don't have the same roles we did years ago when it was all we had to do throughout the course of a week every day was prepare meals for our family, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is different now. And so I actually, because of my relationship to sugar, and it's a part of my culture in New Orleans, everybody knows we eat sweets with every meal. That's the thing. Like desserts is, you don't have desserts? Like what's going on here? What's wrong? You know, that's the thing. Because of my love-hate, I'd actually stopped enjoying cooking because what I loved to eat was so unhealthy. You know, and so it was like I had this bipolar all or nothing. If I'm a cook, it's going to be holidays. It's a big spread. I'm doing 3-4 different desserts. I am known for these things, but then it's not healthy. So I went from all out eating what I love to I'm going to just eat a bland salad because, you know, I'm not. But Percy helped me to incorporate flavor into the healthy foods. And when I tell you guys, the first recipe I tried was a vegan chili. Like, Dr. G, does that even sound like it makes sense? Vegan chili? It was so tasty. It blew me away. It really did, to the point where I literally had some leftovers and ate it all week. It was that good for me. And so the way that Percy, and he mentioned, incorporates the flavors that we love into the ingredients that even when you think it was just like an aha moment when he shared with me all of the dry seasonings that we so excitedly cook with are plant-based. Like, duh, just do them fresh. You know, just do them fresh. It was like, you are so right. It brought the fun into it again, because then it's a combination of, now I'm proud of myself because I'm eating something. It's flavorful. It's feeling good to me. I don't have the itis after. So now I'm proud. It brings into this balance of what we need to maintain our physical selves. And then the connection we start to share with people who are vibing on the same frequency. We're all trying to go higher and live better, do better, feel good, and be here for each other in establishing a legacy for our seeds to come. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
So have you had any recent checkup to see where your status is with regard to being pre-diabetic? Have you gotten an update?
I have an appointment coming up in August. I was just in March. That was my last, pre-diabetic. Here we go again. But again, for me, to be completely honest, I am understanding how even our licensed physicians operate. They are monitored by Big Brother. So, I get the results and then I assess myself. I know myself, I'm learning myself, and I'm growing into a point of being able to trust my own intuition. And I know what it feels like to me when I eat a 1,600 calorie couple of cookies. There's this cookie that does it for me. Oh my God, it's 800 calories a piece, and I eat 2 of them. Can you imagine that? That's an addict. You know, and Percy, I want you to share with the audience what processed sugar is designed to do, how it is literally as addictive, if not more than cocaine, is designed that way. So saying that to say, I love my doctor. She's actually Nigerian, and then I purposely seek for people who share the same, you know, so I respect her, but she has to keep her license. And so, you know, she encourages me to get the vaccine, and she encourages me to do this, and I go with what I know works for me. And I trust that. So I'll go back when it's time, and we'll do my blood work, but it's I'm not concerned about it because I am understanding what my role and responsibility is to me. I'm not depending on someone else to tell me.
Yeah, you're right. I know I have been put on blood pressure medicine, I'm going to say over 20 years, and not probably in the last 3 months or so, I have been Dr. Botanica is one of our advertisers, and I've been, you know, he's been helping me with protocols and so forth because he's into the natural holistic areas of healing. And I just made a decision that I was not going to take the blood. Now they tell you not to stop taking certain things, but I did. I stopped taking the blood pressure medicine. I thought, how am I ever going to get over this if I keep taking it? It's, you know, It's been a lot of years. And I know the tendency is if I say I get a headache, a throbbing headache, I'll grab my blood pressure cuff. And the other day I had one, but I think it was stress or tension. And my blood pressure was like 120 over 79. And I'm thinking, well, my blood pressure is fine. It was like one, you know, but what it was, you know, it was maybe I was under some tension and some stress, hadn't been sleeping well. So those kinds of things can contribute to it. But you're absolutely right. The Western medicine, my doctor also is, I don't think he's Nigerian, but he's from Africa. And I told him, I said, what happened to you? I said, what happened to, you know, the things that our ancestors, I told him, I said, there's something wrong with you. You've been PDR'd, you know, physician's desk referenced, because that's what they do. I said, I told him, I don't trust that stuff. I haven't been for over a year. I haven't been since the sea, right? I haven't even been, and I've been fine. And now I gained some weight, and I'm not going to go back and tell him at least back to the way I was the last time he saw me. But I've actually felt better because you go there and they're trained, if you will, to give you these diagnoses and to give you the latest whatever drug that's been pushed by the salesperson. I don't know you, but have you ever been sitting in the doctor's office and those salespeople come in and they bring lunch for the whole their office staff, and they got all their samples, and then this is the latest thing that you're going to be pushing on people. And then the doctor says, oh yeah, try this. I'm going to give you a sample and a prescription so that you can get that. And then 2 years later, if you or a loved one took that thing that you got the sample for and have died or been injured, then you need to call the law offices up. I mean, look, it's too late now. You guys are experimenting and you guys are helping to push it because you have no innate ability to determine and diagnose what's going on with your patient and to give us a natural option or solution. You're just pushing poison. And so we do, like what is that? You're let thy food be thy medicine.
Yeah.
Medicine be thy food. And that's what I think you're doing. Is that not right, Percy?
That is absolutely right.
Well, that's why they call it practicing medicine. You know, and yes, I am a firm believer of let thy food be thy medicine. You know, because that's what I mean. God gave us all of these trees and plants and stuff that we could survive off of for centuries, or I would even say thousands of years. There was no like vaccine or any type of medicine back then where they had to shoot themselves with. So what changed? The only thing that changed is the way that we eat, the way we carry ourselves, the way we live. That's the only thing that changed. You know what I mean? Like we are, I would say we are weaker now than we were 100 years ago. We are weaker now. you know, because we are putting all these poisonous foods into our bodies. You know, even the cereals that we eat that we think that it's, oh, it's good granola, is packed full of sugar, and we don't read our labels. You know what I mean? That's one thing I noticed when I got out of the hospital. Like, it really opened my eyes of like reading labels and what's really in, you know, in there. Even when you go to the store and you buy your meats, right? And this is one thing I found out, and it really opened my eyes, especially like, you know, your steaks and your pork, right? When you go to the store, you know, the meat department, you see that nice red steak, you know what makes that steak red? Dye. They dye it. You know what I mean? And then I know you've seen this too. Like, they'll do this thing where they'll say, oh, pay this extra money and we'll season it for you. Well, that meat has already gotten to a certain color where like they couldn't sell it regularly. So they put all the seasoning and stuff on it. So you got to think of this way as a hunter. As soon as you shoot the animal to kill the animal, that meat is already rotting because there's no blood flow going through it. So imagine, okay, it goes through the butcher shop. You know what I mean? Before it goes to the butcher shop, they skin it. You know what I mean? They put it on a truck, goes through the butcher shop, they cut it. So that's days that it's been in transit before it actually gets to the store. You know what I'm saying? So now we're putting something dead that's in our body.
And full of worms.
And yeah, and full of worms and full of, you know, whatever to keep it to maintain the color and to keep it the way it looks, the way it does, right? Preservative.
May I add, in addition to full of whatever it was fed while it was alive, which most often is animal byproducts and poisons. So, you know, we are setting ourselves up believing that Big Brother cares when Big Brother is systematically keeping us in this situation. And it's time for us to realize we don't have to be.
It's really all about profits with them. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at a pig farm, you know, I watched this documentary. It's called What the Health. And they had this pig farm where they keep these pigs in these little cages. And the ones that die, the other pigs are feeding off of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you're basically feeding your body. Your stomach's going to be full of parasites. And when you're eating meat, right? All that meat, it doesn't fully digest, so it gets stuck into your stomach line, which means it's rotting inside there, which your stomach is like your second brain. You know what I'm saying? So that's where disease starts at. So if this ain't right, your intestines. Your intestines. So if this ain't right, that's where disease comes from. That's where your diabetes comes from. That's where your cancer comes from, because you have something just sitting in there rotting away. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to take care of this before anything else. Basically, you are what you eat, to be honest with you. Like, that's pretty much what it is. So I as soon as I started eating more fiber and taking care of my gut health, I didn't need that medication anymore.
How long were you actually on medication?
I was on it for a month.
That's all?
That's it.
Is that not astounding?
In the hospital, like just inches away from a diabetic coma, and you took 1 month to not need the medication, or was it that after that you felt so good you just decided not to take it? Or
well, I was constantly checking my blood sugars, like after. So I was my own science experiment, and I had a will to live because I didn't want to leave my daughter in the world to fend for herself. Like, I was like, I gotta fight to live. So I was doing by anything necessary, right? So every time I would eat a meal, you know what I mean, I would wait about 30 minutes and I would check my blood sugar, and I'd be like, oh, okay, this is cool. You know what I mean? And then, like, before I would exercise, I would check my blood sugar. So it was me just getting to know my body and how it functioned, what's good for it, what's bad for it, what I need to stay away from, what do I need to keep putting inside. You know what I mean? And once I started, getting the hang of it, I started going off of the feeling like, oh, okay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. Go to the gym, check my blood sugar. If it's like low, I know the activity is going to drop it down some more. So I'm going to, consume something like I'll eat an apple or banana or something that's going to help me sustain me through my workout. So I had to get to know my body before I did anything else. And that was pretty much it. It really was 1 month, because I didn't buy another prescription after that, after my other one ran out.
Now, how much weight did you lose? Have you lost since you started eating the way you're eating?
I lost about a little over 100 pounds.
And how long? Within a year?
Yeah.
And the way you're eating, and you still eat that way.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wanted to. We talked about that. I wanted to actually share. No, before we go there, I want to go back out to you, Renee, when he was talking about getting to know your body. You are a licensed massage therapist.
Yes.
Which I would assume that when you're providing therapy and so forth, you are in touch with your clients' bodies and so forth. Do you sometimes have any sensitivities, or I'm thinking intuitive ones, about maybe what a client may need, say physically or something, just when you're doing a massage? Because I know you do healing, and massage is one of the vehicles in which you use. But are you also considered a healer, like a Reiki practitioner would, who's able to administer healing energies and so forth? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes and yes, but I want to say that we all are. We all possess psychic and healing abilities. It's just about believing that we possess them, and the intent as we share and we connect. So yes, absolutely. Massage is the vehicle. And yes, as I'm massaging muscles and I'm going through, I can feel blockages, but then also energetically, I can sense blockages as well. And this work, I'll tell you, I've been licensed since 1999. And initially for me, I got involved because, I was a young single mom. It appealed to me because I'd be able to make how much per hour? Okay, yes, do it. I'm doing it. I started working right away for the #1 day spa in the city, and I saw up to 40 clients a week. After 3 years, I was burnt out. I didn't even want to touch a toe. I began to understand later, as I never gave up my license in Louisiana. And then when I got here right away, I never gave up my license. But there were times when I had no desire to touch anybody. I had no desire. I began to learn it was because it was such deep, energetic, and spiritual work. I was depleting my force and not refueling. And I was giving so deeply of myself. And so now I'm very, very careful in the pursuit of anything I do, and that I must be completely passionate about it. But I also maintain balance for myself, because this is deep work. It's deep work. In addition to being physically taxing, like if I'm doing a full body session, I'm actually working. I'm working, physically working. But energetically, I am exchanging. And if I am not in alignment with our ancestors and with, where I should be, and if I am, and I'm very selective about the clients that I see, I call them partners in healing, because this is work we're doing together. You're not coming to me to provide anything you actually can't do yourself, really. But I'm helping to facilitate self-awareness, understanding, providing a sacred space to allow my partners in healing time to listen to themselves and feel themselves and assess. And so we're doing this work together. And so simple answer, absolutely yes. It's what you can feel, it's what you can sense. And the partners in healing I have are coming into the understanding that we have the powers to heal ourselves. We just connect to empower each other.
Absolutely. That is that's awesome, because as a Reiki practitioner, one of the things that I had to learn was just that, I wasn't as selective, but what I had to learn is how to break the energetic cords that became attached during my contact with people who I was providing that service for. And a lot of times people, even if you're not doing that, that's another thing people don't realize, that just in the proximity of others, we are all meshing. The energies mesh one into another, and it goes across time and space. It doesn't matter. And we're all one anyway. And so you're feeling like, like, ooh, all of a sudden that comes on you and you think, what happened? And it may be the person next to you. That's their fault. But because you don't have your energetic sort of guard up to keep, so I'm always, keeping crystals and so forth around me. And I'm always telling people, make sure you got this, quartz, make sure you have selenite and some other things, get your black tourmaline and clear the energies around you, because a lot of times we walk around with other people's crap on us and we don't know that that's what it is. And
we do. And I will share, I'm grateful at this point to be able to be selective. Once upon a time, I wasn't. I was just seeing who I could see, trying to make money, trying to pay the bills. And again, grateful for God's grace and mercy and getting past that survival mode to realizing what this is truly about and how this gift is really meaningful, and that in this physical body, this is part of what I've been sent here to do. And I shared with you guys when we talked in preparation for this interview that I resonate deeply with the experience of a melanated man who was a slave, and it is no coincidence that my practice resonates very deeply with melanated men who, very similar to Percy saying, in times of crisis, they don't get to grieve. In times of pain, they don't get to show that. And so I provide a sacred space for our melanated men that I have them share with me. They don't even get that often at home with their wives. I have wives who will reach out to me to say thank you because I see a difference. I feel a difference. And so we are all connected. I love that you said that. We are all connected. And so much of what we as melanated people shy away from is embracing that innate connection, because we've been taught to be so distrustful. We've been taught to be so distrustful. We'll go and spend money at a white company and don't question their price. But then when it's us, we want to question each other, and we want to question, do you actually know what you're doing? Is it good? Is it this? We've been taught that. And it's just really, that's painful. But this is a process for us to come into a higher understanding of who we are. And truthfully, everything ain't for everybody. So at this point, my work is not for everybody. And I make no qualms with saying, I love my melanated men, and you can take it however you want to take it. But I am very clear, it's an intimate but non-sexual connection that we are making, because, and we're guilty of this. We're all are guilty of, not guilty, but conditioned to associate intimacy with sex. But as we move past our base selves into a higher awareness, you begin to understand there's intimacy without that. There's euphoria without a release, a physical release. And the connections take you to a totally different place. Just like Percy, when you eat well, when you start to put living beings inside your body and you're honoring them as you do, it takes you to a different place. And everybody's not going to be there. It's not going to be a Food Network experience, but who it's for will find you. Who it's for will find me. And I'm grateful for that.
Well, that's awesome, because you have your, is it Reborn and Rising?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that before we get back to the food? Because I thought that was very interesting, because you work with male survivors of violence.
I'll share. So Reborn and Rising was born out of the pain that my son and I experienced when he lost his father to murder. He was 10. And by that time, his father was in New Orleans. We were here in Houston, and getting to the point of, okay, let's do grief counseling, which y'all know back in the day, there's no grief counseling, but I appreciate that I was at a point and in a space that I was searching for programs that could help him and counselors that he could relate to. I had difficulty I had difficulty. There are programs, but we were sitting in a room with little Timmy whose goldfish just died, or whose pop just passed away. There was no kids in the room or any facilitators that could understand my son's daddy was gunned down in a FEMA trailer, and his aunt had to walk in and experience the horrific experience in the aftermath of that. And in a drunken state, she told my son the details of it, what it smelled like, what it looked like. So this was like, I was sitting in rooms with women who, Timmy, it's going to be okay. Your goldfish went to heaven. It was not the same. It was not the same. And we struggled. And I'll share at the same time, my little baby was trying to process losing his Superman. I was struggling. I've been diagnosed with depression since I was a teenager. And Hurricane Katrina hit me in a way that I had to put a pin in my stuff in order to be present for my children. So I was just popping those prescription pills. And when they got so bad, they didn't work. I self-medicated with some energy supplements and eventually trying different medications. I ended up, the side effect to a lot of the antidepressants is weight gain. And I gained a lot of weight. So then that became a whole thing because I'm a woman in the South. We got to keep it tight, So that was a thing. I went to my doctor. I ended up becoming addicted to a diet pill, a prescription diet pill that I didn't see it as a problem because I got it from my doctor. One of the side effects of that, and it is actually banned now, was aggression. So here I was self-medicating legally, not processing any of the psychological and mental trauma that I was going through as I was trying to be present for my son going through some things. We struggled. And there really was no organization that could address specifically our needs as quote unquote Blacks in America. That's not what it's designed to do. They want to keep us so separated from how it is that we actually heal. We heal different. We hurt different. We vibe different. And we needed something different that my son and I would, in moments of tears, and then we would have good days, and we would say, one day. And my name is Renee. My son's name is also Renee. Renee means reborn. So reborn and rising. I identify myself as a healer, not just basically because, not because of what my clients say that I provide for them, because I'm healing. So I'm a healer. I'm a survivor. And I'm learning how to embrace every single aspect of what I've experienced as crucial and necessary for me to be who I am right now. And if I like any part of who I am right now, I got to take it off. You can't mix and match and take anything out. And so I'm providing that for our young men. There's literally no other organization on this planet that is specifically dedicated to helping male melanated child homicide survivors, boys who've lost their parents or caregivers to homicide. There isn't any.
How about who've lost their friends, because there's a lot of that, where
those are still considered homicide survivors, but what there's not is any, and it's specific for me because, the age of development, my son was at a very, very crucial age of development. As a child gets older, their processes are different. And so if you can get in and begin to demonstrate healthy ways to cope before it gets too late, which I'll share openly, and I have shared, it was too late for my son. Right now, today, my son is in prison. And aside from what he's learning on his journey, our creator spoke to me because I was one of those mothers. I was hard. I was tough. You better get this and get this quick. And I'm trying to be dad and mom, forcing him to get these lessons because there was a part of me going through the loss and devastation of Hurricane Katrina. I was really, really preoccupied with death. I thought that at any day I could die. So I was trying to prepare my kids to be ready for the day of tomorrow. I close my eyes. Y'all are going to be able to. That's another aspect too, to what has been instilled in us. We have been taught to be so fearful. And I'm coming into understanding death is not something for us to fear. It's not the end. There is no ending. There is no ending. And realizing in my loved ones who have transitioned before me, I still literally feel them and converse with them every day. So what am I afraid of? You know, and God spoke to me and said, your son, first of all, he's mine because he's only of you. He's for me. You do your part. I'll handle the rest. And it has just really opened up this understanding that has allowed me to ascend Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, I'm no longer at the base, just wallowing, trying to survive and pay the bills. And I'm moving up, understanding what this is truly, truly all about. And it all starts with us. It's us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's us. So that's Reborn and Rising. Now, I will say it's very, very difficult because of us to connect with families in need that way. We just push on. We just keep going. So literally right now, my son is my test dummy for our project. And I am working on the programs and getting everything together. And what I think and why Reborn and Rising hasn't come together in terms of having our group of risers and implementing our programs is because the Most High is waiting for my son to be released to do this himself, to do this with me, for us to do this together, because that's how it was dreamt up. And so that's what I think is the delay. So in the meantime, in between time, my personal philosophy and what I share in my healing practice is healing through helping. That helping is healing. And I found that I was in a position because my needs, although I have trauma that is layered from when I was a toddler in diapers. Let me just add in, I'm a infant, toddler, child sexual abuse survivor. Trauma so deeply layered in my body, I wasn't even aware of it. But my issues were not such an emergency that I couldn't put a pin in my pain to go assist others. And that's how this walk for water started. I wasn't thirsty. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't homeless. So I can put a pin in my issues and go help others. And I was able to find absolute healing. It gave me a perspective that I came back like I was energized. I was enlivened. I felt like my stuff was minuscule relative to theirs. And so there was actual healing. I did have to circle back, as we all do, in maintaining a balance to heal myself. But when you realize in the grand scheme of things, your little universe and this multiverse, you know, we're all connected. And if we all have intentions to ascend, we're healing in that way. We're healing. So that's Reborn and Rising.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Appreciate that. Percy, listen, I want to share, or either you're going to share. I don't know which one of it. I don't know whether you're pulling up one of your videos, or can I pull up the Jamaican jerk jackfruit video or something, or would you want me to pull something else up? I wanted to share why I love you so much and your style of cooking and teaching, because I feel like you're teaching, entertaining, and all of that. So is there any particular video that you prefer over the other, or can I show that one? Or can you show something? Because I've got to say you can share what you want.
So I mean, you can share whatever one that you know is your favorite.
Well, that's not necessarily my favorite. Put your favorite on. That's the one that popped up when I was looking, when I was going to your, but I saw a lot of them. I was binge watching you.
Oh, well, that's always good.
Yeah, I got my husband watching you. Like to say, having on the show.
Let me see if I can cue it up real quick.
Okay, all right.
While you're queuing that up, let me just share how my connection to Percy was just so kismet, in that this space that our men don't get to be vulnerable, Percy was doing that. He was doing that as he not only did the research necessary to heal and take care of himself, it was instantaneously that he wanted to share this with others, to empower, to educate, to help others. And he was so vulnerable in the process. You know, he is as strong and as tough as they come, but at the same time, so confident in his own skin to be able to say, you know, a brother was weak, a brother was struggling. And that is just, I admire that so much about you, Percy. I love you so much for
Love you too,
being
sister. I
you
appreciate it.
and comfortable in the process. And so I'm just hoping that more of our men will see you and realize that it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be weak, and that it's okay to, and not a weak, but vulnerable, and know that we can connect to be strong and empower and encourage each other. So I'm
It's
hoping
basically
to
just
see
rebuilding.
more of our brothers. Yes,
Yeah.
I want to see more of our brothers doing these recipes. Can we see
Yes,
that? Can we see
that's
that,
what I
please?
would love to see. So this video is actually one of my favorite because I dedicated this one to the people who are budgeting, that say that, you know, veganism is so expensive. It costs so much money to be eating this way. So I created this recipe. It's a $12 recipe. So like, I mean, $12, you can feed your family for a week. I still have some left over. You know what I mean? I had some left over for the weekend. So do I just hit the share button right here?
Hit this share.
Okay.
Warning, you're going to be hungry.
All right.
Should it come with the warning?
Let me see. Are you clicking the share?
Okay. So what?
Let me see that. Is that up there? Are you bringing? So it would be
There
Chrome
it is.
tab. Your Chrome tab.
Okay. There we go.
It should
All
pop
right, you
up.
see it?
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
All right.
Let me. What am I doing right here? Okay. Is it? Oh, wait a minute. I got my thing. Here we go. There you go.
All right. So you ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Can't hear your video. Let me see.
Oh,
Audio.
you hear it?
Audio. We don't hear the audio.
Maybe I should take my earbuds out.
I don't know.
How about now?
Bills are paid.
You hear it now?
I am broke right now.
You can hear it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I supposed to do with just this? Have you guys ever been in a situation where you pay all your bills? Everything's all nice and caught up, right? But you're still waiting for your paycheck, which is next week. So you're kind of broke. You can't really go to the store and get all the ingredients that you're looking for, but you just have the ingredients that you have in your pantry today. So basically, all I have today is chickpeas. A can of chickpeas, or maybe a few cans of chickpeas, maybe some tortillas, some sauces I can use. So if you're interested in finding out how you can eat on a budget, make sure you stay tuned and watch the video all the way till the end. And your boy from the Diabetes Kitchen got your back, baby. But I'm gonna get all cleaned up and I'll see you on the intro. Holla at ya.
You're watching a P-Rob Media production.
What's up, Diabetes family? It's your boy, Percy Robinson, coming at you with another smash hit video. Now, today, we're doing something special, but before we get into all that, I want to say, if you are new here, let me be the first to say welcome to the Diabetes family. Also, make sure you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, and the bell so you know every time I drop a new video, which is every week. So let's get to the video. Now, last night, I was on this app called Clubhouse, and I have met a lot of cool, chill people.
on Clubhouse. But I was in this room called YouTube Influencers Meetup. I believe that's the name of it. Don't bite my head off if it's wrong. But I was in there last night and we were talking about, my book, and we were talking about health food. We were talking about my story. And this young man by the name of Evan, he was like, that sounds great and all, but is there like a cheaper way, an inexpensive way that you can feed a family? And I said, bro, say less. I got you. So Evan, this episode is for you. Now, I know a lot of people, during these times, are kind of pressed for money. So this recipe is for those ballers on a budget. This recipe is less than $12. Everything in here is less than $12 and you can feed your whole family. Now, I don't know how many people are in your family, in your house. Don't hold me to that, but it will at least feed a family of 5. With all that being said, I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, and I'll see you on the other side. Holla at ya, boy. Roll the intro. Okay, Diabetes family, welcome back to another edition of Diabetes Kitchen. Now, as you see, we have 2 cans of chickpeas, and what we're going to do is we're going to pour each can into our strainer, into our measuring cup, or whatever type of container you are using. Now, as you can see on the bottom, you can use this liquid for other types of recipes, but today I'm just going to dump it out. So now I'm just going to rinse my chickpeas in the sink, make sure all of the liquid is rinsed out of the chickpeas. So make sure you rinse it really well, people. And then we're going to push that off to the side and then dump it into our bowl, your bowl of choosing. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to you can take a potato smasher, but I didn't have a potato smasher, so I'm using a glass, just a regular glass, and I'm just gently smashing the chickpeas. Now, I'm going to leave some of these chickpeas whole, but the majority of them, I'm just going to smash them, and you'll see why later. Now that I have them smashed to my likings, I'm going to push it off to the side, and I'm going to get started on the vegetables. Now, the vegetables of choice is I'm going to use these baby sweet peppers. And just like that, we're just going to take the seeds out. We're going to take the veins out. You know how we do. If you watch some of my episodes or all of my episodes, I take the veins out, seeds out. You all know the drill. Now, like I stated in the beginning of the video, all these ingredients I had at my house, in my refrigerator, and in my pantry. So I didn't go to the store at all for any of this stuff. So this is basically baller on a budget routine. You feel me? So I'm using my handy dandy little machinery, my kitchen machinery. I just like to call it that way. And then I'm just cutting it up in cubes, putting it off to a container, and going on to the next step. Now, these are buffalo quesadillas, right? So what is a buffalo quesadilla without celery? So what I like to do on my recipes is I like to infuse different types of recipes, actually. I like to experiment with different flavors, and different types of food. So, these buffalo chickpea quesadillas are the one, ladies and gentlemen. So now we're going to do 2 cloves of garlic, just 2 small cloves of garlic. I know in previous recipes I like to do a lot of garlic, but just with this one, I'm just doing 2 small cloves of garlic because there's already an explosion of flavor that's going to be in this recipe. So I'm going to turn my hot plate on, put it on high, and I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of vegan butter, and I'm just going to put it into the pot. So what we're doing now is we're going to put the butter in the pot, and then we're going to add my leftover buffalo sauce. Get it? Leftover buffalo sauce. This was not store-bought. And we're just going to make the sauce even better, creamier. So all we're doing on this step is we're just, infusing the butter with the buffalo sauce, cooking it into it. And then once we're done, we're going to pour it into a separate container and push that off to the side and go off to our next step. See, these steps are actually really easy to do. I'm just doing like one pot. Don't judge me, but you can do multiple pots, but I'm just trying to keep the cleaning to a minimum. So now I'm going to, with the same pot, I'm going to add all of my vegetables, my sweet peppers, my celery, and my garlic. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a nice sear. I'm going to put the pan on medium heat and cook for about 1.5 minutes. Now that the vegetables are to my liking, I am going to grab my smashed chickpeas and I'm going to add it to the pot. Now, once everything is inside the pot, we are going to just gently fold everything together. Now the pot is still on medium heat, but we're just going to fold everything together, mix everything in. Now, after that, we are going to add our buffalo sauce. Just like that. Now that the buffalo sauce is in there, we're just going to mix everything in there, and it is still on medium heat, and we're just going to let it just cook for a little bit. I would say cook for about 3 to 4 minutes. Now we're just going to pour it into the container, just like that. Just be careful. Don't be like me and careless and just dump it all over the place. I'm just joking. But now we are going to make our vegan cheese. Now there's different ways to make the vegan cheese, but like I said, we are on a budget. So I am using the stuff that I have in my refrigerator and pantry already. So I have my vegan butter, and I just so happen to have some vegan sliced cheese. So I'm just going to work the butter around in the pan. And you guys already know what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to add just the slices to the pan. I'm just going to try to melt this down. It may seem ghetto, but don't judge me. You know what I mean? This is better than making them syrup sandwiches. You fade. I'm just putting it in the pan, and then I'm going to break it up a little bit, and then I'm going to add a little bit of almond milk. Now you can use any type of, walnut milk, cashew milk. Just use whatever you have in your refrigerator. And I'm just going to break it up, mix it around, and look how creamy that is right there. And this is the consistency that we are looking for our cheese. Now it is time for us to build our quesadilla. So we're just going to take a little bit of our buffalo chickpeas and we're going to spread it around on the tortilla. Just like that. Just make it like nice and even. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to, have one side higher than the other. Just do the best that you can. And then we're going to add our freshly made cheese. And be very generous, ladies and gentlemen. You can be very generous with this cheese amount. But if you're feeding, your family of 5, just, chill on that.
We're going to close it, and then we're going to cook it for about a minute on each side on medium heat. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are all done. Look at this beautiful display. Your boy did his thing on a $12 budget. I mean, at first, when I was presented with this challenge, I didn't think I could do it. But then, you know, I kicked into high gear and I did what I had to do. You feel me? Oh, yeah. And I had some vegan ranch left over. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time and watching my videos. It is very appreciated. Happy Father's Day to all those fathers putting in work, taking care of their kids. And also, don't forget to buy my book. It is at diabeteskitchen.com. And please stay tuned for my final thought. Peace.
Welcome back, Diabetes family. Welcome back, baby. Now, wasn't that video amazing? But anyways, so like I said, this recipe is so simple, so easy, and it is very cost efficient. You can make this for your family, your friends, whoever you want to make this for, and you will be able to impress each and every one of them. Over here at Diabetes Kitchen, not only do we want to make sure you eat healthy, but we want to make sure that you're protecting those pockets. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to find different ways to make sure that you eat healthy and you're saving your bread at the same time. So let me go ahead and taste test one of these bad boys. So look at this. Bam. Yo, your boy did his thing on this one. Dip it in the ranch. You get the cheesiness. You get a hint of heat from the buffalo sauce. I mean, you can eat like 2 or 3 of those, and you'll be pretty set. You'll be pretty, you know what I'm talking about. You'll be pretty set. I am really happy the way this came out. Like, really happy the way this came out. This is definitely going into my second book. I am really happy how it turned out. Like, real talk. Like, I can't believe this meal was under $12. I really can't believe it was under $12. Well, you guys already know what time it is. It is the end of the video. So I'm going to go ahead and smash on this food real quick because I was starving while I was making it. And I just couldn't wait to dig into this dish. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video on this note. If you eat good, you live good, and you feel good. And don't forget to tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. Holla at your boy. Peace.
That was awesome.
It absolutely was. I didn't know we were going to see a whole, and I mean, in that short period of time, you know, you're showing and you got the end result, how to prepare it and all that stuff, which I think is absolutely, that's what attracted me to your channel and your style of presentation. Absolutely.
Presentation.
May I add, Dr. G, in the production?
That's right. That's
the
right.
production. Let's do that.
The different shots. I mean, it's not a one camera presentation. I just thought I love it. And you can kind of fast forward a little bit, and this is what it looks like, and the transitions and all that. Awesome.
Did you catch that? Did you catch the voice in the beginning?
Whose voice was that?
Just guess whose voice that was.
Was
You're
that
watching the P-Rob Media production.
Oh, okay. All right.
I begged her. I begged her. I was like, Renee, I need you on this drop.
But that's another thing. You do production. You do commercials, and I'm gonna get a commercial done. Dr. G is gonna have a commercial. I'm gonna
I
have
He
got
is the
you. Like,
best.
I got you. I really want to show you what I did for Renee. Uh, it talks about her walk for water.
Oh yes,
Can we?
that's okay. Can you pull that up?
Yeah, because I was really inspired by this because you know, she does. I mean, she is a humanitarian, like real talk. A lot of people talk about it, but she does it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this is
Yeah.
what she does.
And
She walks the walk. And when she came to me um about this project, I was just like, I was kind of nervous because I was so used to doing my own stuff. So she was like my first person to do a production for. So I was like, oh my God, I hope she likes it. But yeah, I enjoyed doing this project, and I just kept on talking to her through the steps because I wanted her not to like it, but I wanted her to love it, you know. And I think I almost made you cry in this one, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
And you know, let me just share the same things that he said about, you know, me being able to take his idea with the writing and the production of his book. He did that exact same thing for me with this promo, and it blew me away. It blew me away. And the most amazing aspect of it is what he was able to create on footage that wasn't even his. It was my video on my little rinky dink phone that I had taken to Cameroon and different videos that I had done. And he put something together that was, it blew me away. So Percy, we have this thing. I am
Yeah.
joined to this brother from another mother, but we're all forever because we were each other's first on a lot of aspects. I had never edited someone else's baby before. So that was my first as well. And
good job.
yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Percy, show them. They're gonna see. They're gonna see.
Okay.
It's your
Okay.
production skills,
Let me
Dr. G, top notch.
Okay.
Chrome tab. There we go. And share. All right, you guys see it?
Yep. Here we go.
I don't hear the audio.
We didn't hear the audio.
You hear it now? It's like generally going up.
The world's water crisis
You hear now?
forces millions
Yes.
of women
What in?
and children to walk an average.
Oh, let me start it over again because it just was buffering. Okay, there we go.
The world's water crisis forces millions of women and children to walk an average of 4 miles every day to fetch water for their families. Sadly, most area water points are dilapidated and in disrepair. Surrounded by extreme
Uh-oh.
sanitary
Buffering.
conditions, residents can wait for hours exposed to elements and diseases. On a mission trip, I traveled to Buya in the southwest region of Cameroon and personally witnessed what many suffered through daily. And here is this is one of the areas. So we have buckets of water. I'm actually fortunate to have 3 buckets. And when I first came, when I would leave, I would fill all 3 buckets. But I'm learning to, at this point, just use one and only fill it up, not even the whole way. Like I'm trying to also learn to preserve my use of water. So, and this is life in Booyah. With the help from family and friends following my journey from home, we completed repair on the public tap in the village I was in. Reborn and Rising's first water station restoration project, the first of its kind, was a complete success. I left Cameroon committed to the rehabilitation of these taps to ensure maximum functionality, sustainability, and safety for the community. We had plans to do several projects in me. So many people you could help just to have fresh water. Although COVID prevented me from attending the dedication of our water station restoration project number 2, the gratitude from the village was felt from 7,000 miles away. Our family and friends here in the U.S. were so happy to support another village being able to have fresh, clean water. By this time, I began to fully understand how the Cameroon government operates.
What's happening to the sound?
Yeah, it's turned down like it's low.
Yeah, I have it all the way up.
I've committed to walking 1,000 miles over 12 months to raise awareness and funds to happy day 1, happy day 10, happy day 20, happy day 30 on a family week. Happy Sunday. I know y'all are having an amazing day. It's the first Sunday after election. I know y'all feeling good. I'm feeling good, and not just because it's Sunday. Y'all know Sundays are honey Sundays with my babies, but I'm feeling good because today is day 100. 100 of our walk water. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. One day at a time, one step at a time, we're doing this. My walk, your hearts. We're making our friends in Cameroon's walk for water work. We're going to build this well family together. We're stronger. All right, I'm going to get these steps in. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Think about the last time you were thirsty for water. Now, think about how far you had to walk to get it. How thirsty for change are you? Join me and others to bring water, light, and hope to an African community in need. Your heart, my walk, together we will make their walk for water worth it.
Ça se fait au Pokémon. Il faut le new way to pass class. Dream was a platform. We start out for tomorrow. Deep inside me, deep inside my life. Deep inside me, yeah. Deep inside my life, deep inside me.
That is awesome. I've seen you on your YouTube walks. How far are you into how many miles are you walking?
Well, the goal was to do 1,000 miles over 12 months.
Okay.
Today is day 332. And by the time we finish in a little over a month, we'll be nearly 2,000. So I'm past the miles at this point. We've reached that. We're going to build Southwest Cameroon's first solar-powered deep water well. Because those first projects that you saw, we were restoring the public taps. The public taps built by the government were dilapidated and in disrepair, and so the residents would have to wait for hours. We learned after we did the first 2 projects, and you were a part of the second project, Dr. G, thank you, that the government controls the flow of water. So the only way to have sustainability and independence from the government is to provide a water source that the government does not own and solar powered so that it doesn't depend on electricity. And that's what we're doing. Yes.
That's awesome. And that's interesting that, you would think that in places such as that, when you think about the government, you think places like Cameroon, the government is run by people who look like the very people who are in need of the water, but there is so much corruption everywhere because of the infiltration that they're in this, these power hungry people would deny people, even we know that could even happen here. There
It is happening here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, we purchase all of this water with fancy names on it and so forth. And some people said, this is tap water. You're probably getting tap water with, different names on it and so forth. But straight up, if you didn't go to the spring and get it yourself, 9 times out of 10, you're bottling tap water, and they're giving you tap water and you're paying through the nose for it. So the fact that you're doing this and you're as an example, the shirt you have on,
yes.
that's you.
Yes.
Right? Walking with
yes.
And they actually walk with the water on their heads.
Yes, they do. Either on their heads or the little kids, may have buckets. Oftentimes their buckets don't have lids on them. So it was amazing to me to see kids walking, carrying this water either on their heads and not wasting much because they have to preserve every drop. And we take so much for granted. And specifically, if I can touch on just briefly what's happening in Cameroon, there's a crisis happening. Cameroon has 10 regions. It used to be occupied by the French and the German and the British. The British left 2 regions to speak English and the others are French. So there's the French 8 regions that have marginalized the 2 Anglophone regions. And the Anglophone regions, after all this time, are finally fed up and they want their independence. And one would think, I know for me, I thought, well, why doesn't the Cameroon government, you got 8, give the 2 their independence and let them go? But it's because just these 2 small regions account for over 60% of the country's gross GDP.
National product, yeah. Okay.
So they won't let them go. And so as they're fighting for their independence, the government is not, playing fair because they don't have to. And so this is something that when I speak of, have you ever gone to a place that felt like home and you had never visited? This is what it was for me. Even my story of how I was drawn to the area, it was all so divine and kismet and how it was meant to be. And because of the connections I've made with my family there, it's work that I intend to do until I am no longer in this physical realm, in this physical body. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. And Percy turned all these little videos I had from my rinky-dink phone into something that really conveyed a message of what they're going through that we take for granted. We don't even have to think twice about going to the faucet and turning water on. And it wasn't made real to me until I went through it myself. It's something. So I am so grateful to you, Dr. G. Percy is also a super sponsor for everyone who has stepped up, because this work is being funded fully by just grassroots people who, I'm going to be as crass as you get, who give a damn, who realize we are blessed to be a blessing, and pennies for us go such a long way for them. And we have that to do. When you think about the first projects we did, I was asking everyone, just skip one meal and contribute to this. And we changed the lives of the entire village it was amazing. And that's what we're doing now. So we're providing water that's going to be able to sustain 7,000 people every day. That's amazing.
And they can, am I correct? It's Renée Dugué. Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
Yes. .com or is it .org? .com.
It's .com.
.com.
And may I add, I shared my name, Renee. It translates. I have a French background, melanated through Haiti and Cameroon through genetics testing that I came to find out after I was on my way to Cameroon. I didn't even know that. But my name translates Renee Reborn. My middle name is Michelle, which is of God in French. My last name is from the land across the water. Like,
Okay.
what? You know, what? And this came about. I'm going to be sharing the last month of our campaign, my connection that I made with Reverend Gabiga Clement in Cameroon, who was completely instrumental in helping this project come to life. We met 2 days after I was in the country, and he revealed to me, I see water, gushing water everywhere. I didn't know what he was talking about. I had no idea. I just thought I was going there to volunteer. And it was warp speed that this project came about. And we are so connected. We are still in contact. And it is on the land near his church that they have gifted us to put the well. It's amazing. It's amazing the work that we can do.
The proximity of that is where they don't have to go 4 miles, I'm assuming, to get water.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes. But not only that, because this will facilitate the entire region. So when the local areas where they're walking, the taps are turned off, then they have to take taxis. Then they have to walk longer than 4 miles. The taxis, some can't even afford it. So they can go for weeks without water when the electricity is not powering the pumps. At least then they'll be able to go to a source where they know there's going to be running water because it's solar powered.
That's amazing.
So, yes.
That's amazing that you're doing that. And also, Percy, how you were able to interpret or to take what, like she said, the pieces of the camera footage and put it together and paint a picture of the need and what's being done and the dream, the vision.
Yeah. Well, I got my inspiration. I told Renee this, like when I was doing the video. I listened to that song that the man was singing, and
Mr.
Yes, Mr. Yeah. So like I laid in my room in the dark and I just played it, you know what I mean? And I just kept on hearing that and then, you know, when he's playing, he handmade this instrument. And I'm like, I have to use this as an undertone beat, because I was going to use a regular, like kind of like an African beat, but I was like, this is perfect, you know? So that gave me the inspiration to be like, okay, I need to do this. I was at my vision board and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this here, you know, when this happens. So that song really touched me. You know what I mean? Like I really felt it through my bones, and like I just kept on going over and over in my head. So it's amazing how powerful music is and how much music moves us. You know what I mean? It moves our spirit, you know. So yeah, I was inspired by that song, you know.
Well, I don't have any footage, but we're gonna put something together and get it to you so that, you know, I'll have there'll be an intro for not only some music, but I'll be able to take some pictures or something. But I trust you.
Let me tell you, Dr. G, P. Rob Media will get you together, because that is what he does. He is a consummate professional, and it has to be right. It has to be right, and he won't stop until you're completely satisfied.
It's
Percy,
a gift and a curse.
You are truly amazing. Well,
listen,
nobody's complaining. Nobody is complaining.
And I'm trying to figure out how we can put a couple of those recipes like in like a ice box that you can cook. You know,
yeah. You want me to make them and I'll send them to you. Styrofoam
things, you know, like you get Hello Fresh. Yes, already cooked.
You know, I might work on a little something for that. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. There you go. And you know what? The other thing that is so interesting. I hate these glasses, but I cannot. If I take these glasses off, all you'll look like is yellow and black and white. I can't see your face. This is terrible. I don't have. It's not from diabetes. It's from having cataract surgery and being given distant vision, and I can't see close up with no glasses. So
well, I got some for that.
Okay, because they took my lenses out and put these little diamond things in it. And when I look in the mirror, I look like Children of the Corn or something close up. It's like diamonds that are. But if you got something for it, we got to talk. But what I was going to say is, we had such a wonderful time the other night. I know we almost didn't want to hang up. Percy, you and I could have kept on talking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're like, Renee was like, this conversation. It was. I realized it was bringing back, some memories. But when we were dealing with, some of the other topics, I heard something after we talked. I was listening to. I think I sent you all information about the Palladians.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said, at least I said it.
Yes. I watched it. Yes.
Interesting, right? Real interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that got me was like when she was talking about, or the piece were talking about the fact that the so-called Anunnaki brought wheat and other grains, brought them here, that those are not natural. They're not only engineered, they're off-world engineered things. And that's what, a lot of people have gluten intolerances and so forth like that, but that originally was brought here to feed the population that they had genetically manipulated so that they for food. And so we're eating things that we think originated here that actually didn't. They'll say, oh well, wheat's not good for you. Well, wheat didn't even come from here. Did you pick that up? Were you able to pick that up from, or did you see that? I don't know if you saw.
No, yeah, I actually picked up a lot of things. Like she was dropping gems. Like right after we got off the phone, like I turned my TV off, and then I just had my iPad up, and I thought it was going to be an actual video, but it was just her talking. So I was just sitting there.
It was them. She's channeling.
I've
actually been in her presence in North Carolina. I mean, literally sitting next to, in the front row and asking the P's a question, and they saying that I was very intelligent. And I was like, oh well, thank you. But they speak through her. That's them speaking through her.
Okay, so that makes even more sense. Because the way she was talking, I was like, because it wasn't like she was talking. It was like she was talking for someone. And I'm like, wow, this is
her. It's her vehicle, as their vehicle.
She's vehicle. Yeah, she's their vehicle. And but the interesting thing was that, and those who are watching probably say, what the hell are they talking about? But the interesting thing about that is that was channeled in 2013. I wanted you all to see how much of what they said then we actually see now.
Right now, yes.
Right now, even up, even up to resets, and we need to be into, the gold and silver, which I got my silver running across, but different things, but about the reducing the population, and there might be an introduction of some type of plagues and reduction of they want to do 4/5 reduction of the population by 2027. And a lot of things that we're seeing now are the things that they talked about 8 years ago. And it's absolutely mind-boggling. And so once you hear those four, there's others there. And you already been there.
Yeah, I kind of went down. I mean, I had to wake up and go to work, the next morning, but like I was just trying to like stay up, you know what I mean? Like watching it and listening to it. But I'm actually going to continue like watching it again so I can catch, because sometimes I don't catch it the first time. Then the second time I got to watch it again and be like, okay, that's what she meant here. And I like to piece everything together. So that was a really good find, because I love, listening to things like that really challenges the way I think, the way, the way we were programmed to think.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Yeah. And then she talked about, because you talked about death not being the end, Renee, and they talk about, how to escape that loop. And when, I don't know whether I was listening to that particular one, or there's another one that was not part of that 4-part series, where they're talking and they're basically saying that if you set an intention that, when I leave, I'm going to reconnect with, say family and loved ones that love me. And even if I have to stop and see the ones that are still caught in what we would call the matrix, I will move on to reconnect with my higher self. And they said through her that that's what you have to intend. They said, but again, with things like, if you believe, or you're brought up believing that if you quote unquote sin, you're going to end up in hell. Well, and I believe this too. that's the thing that you're going to see manifest, because you've already established that as a fact for your life. So whatever you focus intently on, you will manifest. But those of us who realize that it's just moving into another realm, we have to decide which realm we want to go in to ahead of time and not be caught off guard. And even if you have to see the ones that are stuck, see them and keep going higher. And that's what happens. You know how they say misery loves company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I try to tell people, even when you look at repeated violent acts in same areas, you know, there are areas where, for instance, in Cali or in New York or in Chicago, there's areas where there's lots and lots of repeat, you know, say murders or deaths that seemingly are untimely. And a lot of times these people are even right here where I domicile. There's a lot of that. But it happens over and over because we never help those energies move on, because we've lost it from our culture. Our culture in our ancestors, our Egungun, they knew how to help those spirits move on to where they're supposed to go. But we leave them around. We even give them stuff to drink. I went past one memorial, and it had to be like 50 empty bottles of liquor and everything, and balloons and bears and everything. I was like, well, I wouldn't go anywhere either. I'm like, look, they're gonna bring us something to drink every time they think of us. They're gonna pour one out for us. And that's what people don't realize. And it keeps those energies there. And then what they do is go, I think we need some company. And so they get that one to shoot and kill that one. And now their crowd gets bigger and bigger. And it's just a realm that we don't see, but they're real as we are. So, you know, but I just want to let you all know I had an amazing time with that conversation, because I think we kind of, it went where I love to go, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to get my other channel up and running. And I want to thank everybody who has already subscribed to my new channel that has no content. And I realized I could at least pre-record a video and put it on there. But even without any content, I think over 700 people have actually subscribed to Dr. G's Official. So I'm getting ready to put something up, even if I sit here and just record it and say thank you so much for doing that. But that channel is going to be more dedicated to the other stuff that we're interested in, you know, the metaphysical, the astrological, the numerological, the healing modalities, and, you know, things like that. Now, I believe what you're doing, Percy, is just as much a part of a healing modality. Because we have been so, and it's so simple, but we have been so programmed to, like you said, Renee, you're addicted to sugar, which is poison, which is right up there and maybe surpasses cocaine. And I used to think, if we never gave a baby sugar as children, they would never crave it. But we give it to them. We give them lollipops and, you know, candy bars and all this stuff. And we don't realize that we're introducing, or we're putting our children in a state of addiction right at the outset. But
which actually, Dr. G, which actually, that's something that I always say, like, basically, like when people say like diabetes or cancer, you know, it's you know, it's hereditary or part of it.
I lost you.
Oh, okay. So basically, you know, when people say,
my sound
you know,
is out.
We hear you.
You hear me?
We hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. So
you can't hear me?
I can't hear you guys. So I'm gonna try to read your lips, but I know our time is wrapping up. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity for us to share the work that we are doing. We have more work to do. And thanks to everyone who tuned in. Thank you. And
Thank you.
share the video for the replay. Percy, last you were going to say, and we're going to end on you, because I want people to come and go and subscribe to Diabetes Kitchen. We'll go to your website, and from their website they can get the link to your
book.
to the book and other things that you're doing. They can subscribe and so forth, and they can get as excited as I feel when I'm watching you. And now when my kitchen is finished, I told you we're gonna do a cooking one.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm gonna be in my kitchen, and you're gonna be in yours, and I'm gonna make what you tell me to make and see if it comes out right.
I am actually looking forward to that moment. So basically, I'm going to leave you guys on this note. And it basically speaks into what you were talking about as far as feeding our babies sugar. A lot of us say, diabetes or cancer runs in our family. You know what I'm saying? But what I always tell people is bad eating habits run into our family. Basically, you eat what your parents eat. So basically, it's up to us. It's up to us as parents to change those generational curses that you know what I'm saying, that we were given. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell my child to eat a certain way if I'm not doing it. I can't tell my child she needs to exercise if I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to start leading by example, be the example for our children so they can be stronger, for the next generation. What I'm doing now is just the groundwork. You know what I mean? I'm trying to set this up generational for our people so we can be that much stronger. We can be that much smarter. You know what I mean? Know ourselves. So I'm gonna end on that note. If you eat good, you live good, and you feel good.
Thank you so much. Thank you both, and I am going to have you back on the show. And this has been exciting because it's just an extension of our other conversation and many more conversations to come. I thank each and every one of you for tuning in. And remember what Percy said. He said, you eat good, you feel good, or you live good rather, and you feel good.
Feel good.
Next time is Dr. G.
Thank you guys so much.
Dr. G. Really? Who's she?
Yeah, that's me.
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 Dr. G.
That's me.